beautiful My Dreaming Soap. Welcome to my channel. Now, I'm doing what I think is going to be a really cool soap today. And I must admit, it's funny really, because I've just done a really complicated soap and I thought, oh geez, I just want to do some easy soaps for a while, but I think this one's actually going to be even more complicated. So what my plan is make myself some embeds, and I'm going to make those in two ways. I'm going to do a fairy door using the fairy door embed mould that I sell in the shop, but then also I need to do some embed for these little butterflies, and I'm going to be doing an embed for this little fairy bed and this window scene. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude all the bits and pieces that I need from this. I've made myself some discs and that, and I'm just going to get everything extruded. I've got my extruder here and I'm just going to extrude it out. I'm not going to do all the extruding on the screen just because I'm sure you've seen extruding lots and lots of times. If not, you know, just go to lots of my other videos and you can see me just extruding stuff. But then I will come back when I've got it all extruded and we'll put the models together and see how they go. I've extruded everything I need for my fairy bed, so I'm going to put it together now. In this bottle I've just got nice fresh distilled water, and that's just what I'm going to use to attach my parts. So let's make this fairy bed. I need to get all my bits right. Okay, so I've got the little bottom here is going to be sort of like the underneath, like what would be the base of the bed. And then I've got, this would be the green leaf that they're making the covers out of. I'm just going to spray with a little distilled water, which will make it very slippery and slidey initially, but then it will join it together and really seal it together nice and tight. And the key thing is obviously to join, make sure these pink bits really join well to the green bits, otherwise you're going to end up with some gaps in the soap. Okay, so there's the first bit of my base. It's never a good view really from the ends, but you can sort of see what I'm getting at. Okay, and then to make the rest of it, I need to have my little pillow. Okay, so just some white soap dough pillow shaped. And then this funny shaped bit, this is going to be, it's supposed to be sort of two leaves forming the headboard behind the pillow, but obviously it's got the pillow shape cut out of it. Okay, and then there's on the wall behind the fairy bed, there's sort of a flower keeping, I guess, like a bigger part of the headboard. I've got two bits of the flower. I've got to work out which one's which. That bit seems to go there. Yeah, that seems to fit nicely there. The water's always a bit tricky because initially it makes stuff a bit slipperier, so it doesn't hold together as well as you would like. You sort of lose that instant grip. But in the long term, it's much better because you then get it to stick with the power of the water. Okay, so there's that bit. I know it probably just looks weird at the moment. And then the last thing I've got is sort of a canopy that goes over the bed. That's again supposed to be another leaf. So I'm just going to join the two parts together. I've just done two different colours of green. Okay, and I can just put one inside the other. And then the idea is that that canopy will just drop in the top, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that when it's actually in the soap, I think. Okay, let's see if I can just pick this up. Well, can you see that? There's our little like leaf bed and then the headboard. This I'm going to put in a little bit later on. It's like a little canopy going over the top. So I'm just going to now put that away to the side. Let's now make the window. So I've extruded some window frames, and again I'm just going to put some water in them. I've done it in two parts because I want to get the scene inside the window. So part of that scene is going to be sky. So here's my sky. It's a mixture of white and blue soap dough. pop that in there. And then I've got some trees. Actually, I'm just going to join those two together first. I think that will be easier before I pop them in the window. Right, so now I can drop my window scene into the window and put the top of the window on. And then what I'm going to do is spend a little bit of time just making sure that all pushes together nicely and forms one solid embed. I've squashed all my window together and I'm really pleased with that. It's a little bit wonky, but I think that's perfect. I did design it so it was a little bit scruffy, as in it's just made from branches that have been pulled off the wood's floor. So there we are, there's our window with our tree and our background of our sky in it. Now let's make our fairy door. So I'm using the fairy door, or it could be any door, embed mould. And what this comes with is some either extruder discs or stamps. So if you don't like extruding soap dough, you can stamp it. And what that will do is make the door furniture. So I'm going to extrude mine. So I've got a little door handle, and then I've got the two sort of iron door hinges, and then a cute little love heart to go at the top of the door. So those are going to be my embeds going in. And this is just going to be a poured embed. So let's get this soap made up for this, and we'll get this embed mould made up. Let's get this fairy door mixed up then. So as it's all going to be one colour apart from my door furniture, I'm going to put the micas straight into my oils. So I'm using Ooh La La from Pure Rock Colours to give me a nice pinky, dark, quite a dark pink. It's basically the colour that I did on my fairy bed. Now I'm not using too much of this, I don't want it too strong. So I'm using less than I would normally. Okay, so just a little bit of that. And then just to tone that down, put that on there, might be easiest. I'm going to bring in some TD as well. Okay, let's add my lye solution and sodium lactate. The fragrance I'm using is Raspberry Lemonade from Nature's Garden. Now, if you want a fragrance that keeps your trace really lovely and fluid and holds really well in cold processed soap, this is certainly a fragrance that does that. Remember, in the UK we can only use it at 3%, but it still gives a good strong scent in a soap. And it's a great one if you want to do intricate swirls or anything, then it's great. Now for this soap I'm not doing any intricate swirls, but it was just an assessment that I had the colours I wanted, and I thought Raspberry Lemonade and a fairy scene and a forest and that, I don't know, just seemed to all go together for me. Now I am going to pour some of this off, sort of half-ish, and I'm going to warm it a bit more because I want to be able to pour it into the mould, but I want it to support those little embeds that I've got. Right, so I've warmed that through. Yeah, that's now at 102. So let's get this fairy door poured. Okay, so that's starting to thicken nicely. So I'm just putting a little bit in here first. And I'm going to use that to support my heart. Now this door's been made upside down, so the heart's going in, just making sure I'm putting everything in so it ends up the right way. And then let's just carry on adding this. Okay, so that heat, as you can see, has got that soap to thicken up quite well, because this is a fragrance, as I said, that is really, really fluid. So this is now where I want the level to be for the first bit of, you know, the first hinge for the door. Okay, a little bit of soap this side. And we can put our door knob on. And also, if you didn't want to muck around with embeds, if you're thinking this looks very fiddly, you could easily just pour a bunch of soap just straight into this mould, and then when you cut your bars, you can just use the stamps that would be provided, and you could then just stamp on the little hinge and everything. And let's get my last hinge in. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to hopefully push it down as level as I can. I don't mind if it's a bit wonky, because your fairy door may have wonky hinges on, mightn't it? That'd be quite cute, actually. Okay, and then just trying to push it against the side of the mould. Just going to scrape across the top to get it nice and level. This is just disposable putty knife. I can't remember what I got it worth, but it's quite handy. Okay, so I've got my soap mould here. Now, this is a big old embed that's got to go in. So what I tend to do in this situation is take the sides, undo the sides on my mould, so I can actually get my hands in there. Otherwise, you can end up dropping the embed. And then I'm just going to put my base in. And I'm going to have to leave that to set up a little bit so that it can support the embed. And then I'm going to add that embed in, and that will push the level of the carpet up a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just going to wait till that's, because this is a heavy old embed, I need to wait for that to settle a bit more. I'm not sure how much of that recorded because my battery filled up. So what I've done is I've popped my embed in, and then the soap that I'd kept to the side, this was a bit more fluid, so I've just been able to pour that in the sides here just to build up the rest of that carpet. And all of that I did with the sides off my mould. So I'm just now going to put those bolts back in my mould and then let that set up. Right, we're nearly there with this, which isn't actually the finished soap. So I'm going to be doing something else with this. So next layer. So what I've got is the rest of the oils that I need to fill that soap up. Now this quite nice colour in here is again mainly golden shimmer, but I've got some of the chestnut brown in it as well. Because remember, this is supposed to be essentially the fairies living inside a tree. So I want this to be sort of like a woody colour, but not too strong, not too dark. So there's that. Let's get this blended up. Okay, I think that's going to do me there. So now what I need to do is pour whilst it's still fairly fluid in there. I need to put my little canopy over the bed in, but then it needs to be firm enough to support that window, which is a fairly heavy embed. So again, I'm going to pour some soap off and warm it up.
What if the world had...
Okay, let's put our window in. There's our window with our little window scene. Just pop that in.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach out?
I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to put this away overnight, and then we'll see what I'm going to do with it tomorrow.
The birds will sing about your heart. Maybe the trees will whisper the word.
I'm now going to take my embed and I want to cut it up into slices because of how I'm going to complete this soap. So I've just got my normal soap cutter and I'm just going to chop it up. But what I want to do is I need to cut it twice because this is going to be half the width of the bar. So let's just move this lot out and then I'm going to try and cut it again. Hopefully this will work. Whoops, drop them. Okay, I think I'm lined up. Let's go for it. Yay! I think they look fine. So I'll have all my cute little fairy house doors. Look! They're so sweet! Look at them, look at them. I love them. Now I need to do Oh gosh, I need to do that exact same process with my main soap. So let's do that again. I'm having fun with this soap. Right, so those are all my little inside seams. And what my plan is with these is I'm going to make them into a double-sided soap. So, oh, they're a bit sticky because they're a bit early to be cut. So on one side is going to be the sort of inside of the soap. So as you turn it over one side, you can see inside. But on the other side, I'm going to take one of my little fairy house doors and I'm going to make another layer of soap. So that fairy house door is going to be like that. And it's going to be tree coloured on the outside. So it's going to look like the outside of the fairy house on this side. And then as you turn the soap over, it's going to be the inside on the inside. How cute is that? Now, another thing I've got planned, and I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm quite excited about it, is I want to have this soap here as a little mini soap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it, and I don't know if it'll work, so I might give up on that. I don't want to ruin the whole soap just for this one little idea. I want to have this mini soap so that what someone could do is take this little mini soap out, sort of like removing the door. And as they do that, they'll see the little fairy bed on the inside, as if they're opening the door to have a peep through. That's my plan. I don't know if it'll work. Right. I am so happy with that little picture. That's very good. Right, let's get these into their next stage. Let's start building this soap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my inside soap and I'm just going to lay them into the mould. Just make sure I get those little fairy beds around the right way. Now my mould here, this slab mould doesn't fit exactly, but it's going to be fine. It's close enough. It's the closest one that I've got, so it's kind of what I've got to use. Okay, so I think that's pretty good there. Now I'm going to have to do this twice because I've only got one mould that's this size. So for my first go, I'm going to try to get the doors that will come out. So what I've done, and I'm not keen on using single-use plastic, so I very rarely do use it. I have wrapped each fairy door in some cling wrap. I'm just going to line that up and just have a little play with it. It will be funny to have that door coming out. So now I just want to split this out. This is going to be my main colour. And then I just want to split out. I'm having 20% of this as brown. Okay, I'm going to do sort of a wood grain. So let's pour off what I need for the brown. So again, this is chestnut brown from Pure Rock Colours, like I used inside. And then 10% is going to be black, so that's just activated charcoal. And the main soap is going to be Golden Shimmer. Golden Shimmer from Mica Mama. Now I am just going to pour this into a smaller jug just because I want to do some lines on top of this, and that's a long way down this big jug. So this will just help me with a bit more control. Okay, and then let's pop our fragrance oil in. Now I'm not sure how well this is going to work. I am just going to pour just a little bit just into these gaps, just so I can take some time with the aim there. Okay, now let's start with this sort of wood grain effect. still dropping down a bit too far. I'm going to transfer it to a bottle. Yeah, that's easier to control. Okay, so I'm just going to go up and down. Now I am sort of going over the fairy doors, but I will wipe those off afterwards.
Maybe the birds will sing about your heart. Maybe the trees will whisper the word. Maybe the sun will spread your joy to the ones who lost their hope. Fill my head with roses. I can't help but dream away, standing on a field with you and...
There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. So now what I've got to do is pop my little butterflies in. Now I've made these butterflies a tiny bit longer than the depth of the soap, just so I've got a chance of putting them in without sticking my fingers all in the soap.
Has a heart as pure, no, not like yours. Dreaming of you.
Okay, there we go. Right. Obviously I need to put this away for the night. I'm going to cover that. I'm probably going to leave that a couple of days. So my other fairy doors and that, I'm going to keep them sealed, and the other bits of the soap. So I'm going to keep them sealed and wrapped up because I don't want them to dry out. So I'm going to cover this, and because this is a slab mould, I'll typically leave it covered for a couple of days just to prevent soda ash. Okay, so other than that, we will then chop that all up into its little pieces and see how it's done with its little double side effect. Here we are with our soaps a couple of days later, and what I've done is I've just sliced this loaf into three exactly along the bottom of the doors. Now I wanted it to be along the bottom of the doors because I want the doors to be able to lift out, and I think if someone's trying to get it out the middle, then that's not going to work. And I'm really thinking that that's going to just be a novelty temporary thing, because obviously once the door comes out, they can either put that and use that as a little separate soap, as a hand soap, you know, small soap somewhere else, or they could literally just pop the door back in, and if it's put in wet, then it's gonna sort of seal itself back into the soap. So it's just pulling these little doors out. As you can see, I've already sort of freed these ones up a little bit, and you can see I've got my little door shape, and you can see the little bed through there. And so I'm just going to go through and take each of those doors out. I'm just going to tidy up around here. I haven't got any gloves on at the moment because this is really fiddly, and my hands are all lovely and clean. So yeah, so what will happen is that eventually, once these have, you know, I'm sure that they're not wet anymore. Can you see my little door's going to fit in like that? And it's going to be so fun, and someone can just go, oh, look at that, I can see through. Okay, and then I'm just going to get these cut into their individual bars. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got. So there's a front. I am going to bevel them off, and let's take the plastic off the door so we get the full effect, shall we? Okay, so that's how they're going to be sold with the front. I'm going to trim those butterflies back a bit. I like the fact that they're sitting a little bit proud actually, but they're a bit fat So I might still leave them a little bit proud. So I'm going to bevel this off. So therefore there's your outside of your fairy door. Oh, up the right way. The fairy door can be removed to have a peep inside and get a picture of what's in there. And then obviously from the other side, if you're actually going, right, I'm going to go around and into the soap, and then you've got the whole bedroom there with the bedroom scene with the window in. I'm really pleased with that. I was going to trim off all these extra bits, you know, the bit that I poured between the soaps. I don't think there's really a need to. I think they're fine with that. I think it would just be wasting soap just to take it off. So I am super pleased with those. So I'm going to carry on doing those and getting those sorted, and then we will come back and look at some final photos.
And here we are with the final photo of the soap and a little mini video showing the door opening and closing. I'm really pleased with this soap. I hope you like it too, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, it would be great if you gave me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see what I'm making in the future, why not subscribe to my channel? And if you'd like to buy yourself a fairy door soap or some of the other great soaps we've got in the shop, why not head over to I Dream in Soap and pick up some soaps for yourself.